You got the fantasy minute though, right?
Yeah, and no one else gives a shit, but you and I certainly do. So we're gonna end the show with our another fantasy minute.
I got it right here.
You and I have been battling throughout the summer, swapping first place back and forth. We are at the moment tied once again at 59 and a half points. We have 30 days left, 31 games since 31 days, whatever. The season's wrapping up rapidly, and neither of us have been able to separate ourselves. So it's going to come down to the wire. And you and I started our fantasy league 20 years ago. It was actually the genesis of Major League A-holes. That was the name of our original fantasy league in 2004. And you and I ended up going to the wire and tying at the end of that season in our Rotisserie league, which you and I had never considered that a possibility, just because we were novices. But you and I are not novices anymore. We've been running either you or I have been running this league for 20 years now, and yet I feel like we might be suffering the same fate as we did the inaugural season. As there's a potential that we could be tied once again. What we learned and wrote in the rules after that first season was the tiebreaker would be in a rotisserie league. Which of the two tied managers had was ahead of the other in more categories, and that if we went retroactively back, and which we don't want to open Pandora's box, you would actually be the champion that first year because I believe you were ahead in six. You were ahead of me in 6 categories, and I was ahead of you in 4 categories. So, so if you wanna take away my partial championship that year and give it all to yourself, you can. But be careful. Be careful with that Pandora's box. So we have that set up now. The problem is right now, you lead in 5 of our 10 categories. I lead you in 4 of those, and you and I are tied in the other. And I think you and I are tied for home runs right now. We're at the top, and basically you and I are first and second in every category. So I'd be shocked if we're tied with home runs. So if I pulled ahead, I would have 5 categories ahead of you, and you would have 5 categories ahead of me. So we would at that point need a second tiebreaker, which I didn't think would be. I mean, it never dawned on me. It's never been an issue for 20 years. So what do we do? Like if that happens, what would the second tiebreaker? I like the first tiebreaker. If I'm ahead of you in more categories, or you're ahead of me in more categories, even though we had the same point total, I think that's fair. I mean, it's hard to come up with a better way. So that's why I don't mind the category rankings to be the first tiebreaker. But what would be a justifiable second tiebreaker if it comes down to it? Do you have anything? I think the only thing I can think of is like I saw in one category, I only have 3 points. I forget what it even is, but maybe whoever has the lowest point total in one single category is second place. Just because you know the other player didn't finish as poorly in that one in any category except for that. So that'd be pretty brutal to lose that way. But I think that might be one way to do it. I just I don't know how else we would solve this. So maybe that's something you and I need to think about. And I think since I run the league and you're kind of the de facto co-commissioner or deputy commissioner, I think you and I can resolve this. I think we need to do it soon so that we're not we're not at each other's throats for the prize money at the end of the season, and we can just agree to it and be good with it. So I don't know if anyone's actually listened this long. This is much longer than a fantasy minute. But if you guys have ideas or have seen how a second tiebreaker works in rotisserie leagues, I'd love to hear it.
We have to do an on-air coin flip.
That is awesome. Yeah, we should tie the podcast into it.
Yeah, I think it's an on-air coin flip because at that point,
turn this into content. I like that. That would be the ultimate fantasy minute. Then
at that point, it's like I don't disagree with the idea of like, okay, so whoever has the lowest of low categories, but at the same time,
it kind of it stuck out to me, but it felt kind of gross when I saw it too. When I thought about it, it's like I kind of like the coin toss. I also like the idea of turning it into podcast content. It would be be the most consequential segment we've ever done.
Or do we just like see who can chug a beer the fastest on air? And
Eh,
that probably won't. That probably we have to do it at the end of the
I
podcast.
enjoy beer too much to chug it anymore, so that'd be a waste in my mind.
Who
I
can
like
do
the
the
coin
most
toss.
Malort shots in one
Oh,
broadcast?
oh my god. Well,
I would dominate. I will
I will
dominate.
be in Chicago visiting you and others in about 3 weeks. So,
Yeah.
yeah, we could maybe figure that out. Maybe we do a contest before it comes to it, so we already
Yes.
know who's the
Yeah, we already
tiebreaker.
know who and then someone makes up 20 points in the league and neither of us win.
Yeah, that'd be the best. Much ado about nothing.
Wordhole Media.